Hi, welcome to Cork Meets Fork. I'm Robert Mitchell, and this is match number 9, where we're pairing up Oregon Pinot Gris, which is the white grape varietal that comes out of Oregon. Pinot Noir is the red, but Pinot Gris is their claim to fame as far as the white goes. And we're pairing that up with something that we're suggesting that you put out there for an appetizer for Thanksgiving. Something other than shrimp cocktail, and it is a Thai shrimp spring roll. And we have that in front of us here already. Since it's a cold dish, we don't have to heat that up and bring that out later, but we're going to be tasting that in a little bit. But first, let's get to some of the events that we've got going on. This Saturday, November 13th, we're going to be at Grapes to Glass in Sturtevant, and we're going to be tasting some wines for Thanksgiving, as we are today. And that is from 3 to 5 o'clock. And then we do have some room left, although the reservations have been coming really hot and heavy, for our holiday wine show, and that's on November 18th at the Hobnob. That's a Thursday night. The gig runs from 6 to 8 o'clock at night. We're going to have 25 wines to taste, and appetizers will be passed, so you'll be able to snack a little bit. And all those wines that we're tasting, you will be able to purchase that night, so you can get a little head start for your Thanksgiving dinner. So please call the Hobnob, and that's 552-8008 to make that reservation. And now to our little match today. Wines out of Oregon, I'm just in love with them. I love the Pinots. We tasted a Stangland Pinot Noir about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and this is a Pinot Gris. And anytime in the United States you see Pinot Gris on a label, it generally means that it's going to be a little bit fruitier. And Pinot Gris is the same grape, the same, it's a different name, the same grape as Pinot Grigio, which comes from Italy, obviously, and Pinot Gris comes from France. And what you see in France sometimes is a fuller but still crisp and minerally Pinot Gris, but in the United States, like I said, most often when a winemaker will put Pinot Gris on the label, that generally means it's going to be a little bit more viscous, a little more fruity, and slightly sweet too. And that is indeed the case here with this Stangland Pinot Gris. Great nose. I mean, there is some minerality there, but you get that fruit too. It's almost like a little bit of a melon characteristic. It's thick, it's rich. You get that little melon note. There's like a little bit of honeydew in there too. But I want to warn those that don't like sweet wines. This is not a sweet wine. It does have a fruity, almost a tart fruit characteristic to it, but it's not like a Riesling, but it's like a Riesling alternative, which the key wines for turkeys, people always say Pinot Noir and Riesling. And that little sweetness kind of goes really well with turkey in a Riesling. And this has just enough to keep you honest, but it's not quite as sweet as a Riesling at all. But a real nice wine. That's $17 too. A pretty good value for a Pinot Gris coming out of Oregon. And a great wine. And what we've done today is we've matched this up with a spicy Thai shrimp roll. And I've always said, and it just makes a great combination when you're kind of doing an opposite attracts thing. And here we've got a spicy Thai shrimp spring roll with this slightly fruity, a hint of sweet Pinot Gris from Oregon. Let's try our little match here. You can see all that healthy goodness in there. The shrimp on the outside there too. We're just going to dip right in our peanut sauce. Both have a little bit of heat. What's that heat to hit? There it is. A little bit of acid now that comes out. That wasn't coming out so much before, but now when you have a little hot, the acid kind of shines through a little bit there too. This would be a nice little dish to put out there for an appetizer while people are waiting for the turkeys to get done on Thanksgiving. Give it a shot. It's very, very easy and quick. You can make these rolls and put them in the refrigerator and let them sit there so you don't have to worry about it, and just put them out when the guests arrive. But thanks for joining us for match number 9 as we paired up Oregon Pinot Gris with Thai shrimp spring rolls. And join us next week as we go over match number 10, where we're going to do another thing that will work for your Thanksgiving dinner. Stick around now and you can watch as we make this dish. But thanks for joining us. All right, now the cooking portion. And this is going to be fun and very, very easy. And what we're doing, like I said before, for Thanksgiving dinner, shrimp cocktail is always something that people kind of come into the house and you start with that and a simple appetizer, and everybody goes after the shrimp. But this is a different twist. This is taking shrimp to another level, and with these Thai shrimp spring rolls with a little bit of spice to them too. And that's what works so well with the Pinot Gris. First we're going to make this peanut sauce, and it's going to be a little bit of a spicy peanut sauce, but there is a spice in the spring rolls themselves, so we don't want to make it too spicy. But we're starting off with a quarter cup of peanut butter, or excuse me, a half cup of peanut butter. And then we're going to also add a quarter cup of hot water. And this hot water is going to kind of break down that peanut butter a little bit. And we're going to add 2 teaspoons of rice wine vinegar. We're going to also add 2 teaspoons of, I'm sorry, these are tablespoons, and I'm just randomly popping that in there, as you can see. About 2 tablespoons of some fresh chopped ginger. We did chop that up earlier. We're also going to add a little bit of hoisin. This comes from the soy plant, and we're just putting in 2 tablespoons of that. You could also add some white sweet miso if you like, and then just a little bit of chili flakes. Then we're just going to mix that all up. And that's blended pretty well. You want to taste it, make sure it's not too hot, and then just put that off to the side. Well, we've got the shrimp. We chopped up a little bit of cilantro and a little bit of mint, and we have the shrimp, and let me show you how we do that. You want to get the tail off of these. These are just simple frozen shrimp, the same shrimp you'd use for a shrimp cocktail. And then just half those lengthwise and pop those in there, and then we're going to add a little bit of fish sauce to that too. And that's just going to give it a little bit of a salty, fresh seafood kind of a flavor. Now our roll ingredients here. We've already put together a little bit of the cabbage, and there's some sliced carrot in there too. Very finely sliced, actually shaved carrot. We're going to add a little bit of green onion. This is green scallion. That really brightens up the flavor. And this is the bean thread noodle. And this was cooked for about 3 minutes, and that's going to go right into the mix. And just kind of mix that up. But before we continue, I just want to show you how we slice the cucumber. You first de-seed the cucumber, and then you just want little pieces of cucumber to go in there. Little diced cucumber. And then the cabbage itself, you can put this through a grater, but it comes out too fine. And what I like to do with the cabbage is just slice it very thin. Then you have these great little ribbons that go right in there. All right, now we've got the rice paper, and this is the only real difficult part of the entire experience, because this sometimes will be very hard to deal with. But it takes about a minute in some cold water. We've already started a couple of here, and after a minute it'll get very, very pliable. Okay, now I said this is the difficult part. This has been soaking for about a minute, but it's just very, very fine and can be sloppy. Just be careful with it. And once you get it down on the paper towels, you can spread that out a little bit. And now we're about set to roll, but we're going to first add our toasted sesame seeds to the mixture there. I didn't want to put those in earlier because they tend to get a little bit soggy. We just want that to be fresh in the mix. Now the assembly part. Once again, peeling off the rice paper can be very, very difficult. If it loses its shape a little bit, don't really worry about that. I'm using my fingers here because it's just easier to deal with these noodles. But we're going to start in the bottom corner, and we're going to add the noodles and the concoction there. Make sure you get all that good stuff in there. And then we're going to put the shrimp up top. And you want to put the skin side of the shrimp, the colored side of the shrimp, right up against the paper, so when you roll it, you'll see the shrimp coming through.
Just like that. You've got a little cilantro and mint in there too. And then you begin your roll. Once you get to the halfway point, you fold over the rice paper itself and keep that roll very, very tight. There you have a beautiful roll with the shrimp exposed.
All right, we've made a few rolls. Now we're going to plate it.
And this is the peanut sauce. Put a little container out. If you're serving a big group for Thanksgiving, you can put this around a big plate. We're going to just do one serving right now. Here you want to cut the egg roll itself, or the spring roll, on a bias. Be careful. I mean, it's pretty sensitive stuff, but and we're going to present this just like that.
And that is another idea for Thanksgiving. Hope you experiment a little bit. It's just a great, great food holiday, and fun to do something a little bit different. But we've got some Thai shrimp spring rolls for you to try. Stay away from the shrimp cocktail. Do something a little bit different. Your family and friends will love it. And stay tuned next week. We're going to do our last little food idea segment for Thanksgiving next week, and that will be match number 10. But thanks for joining us on match number 9, and we'll see you next week.